Hello and welcome. It is I, Iron Raven, your friendly neighborhood a-hole. I just had to go there. I apologize. Not really, but whatever. Anyway, yes, so Spider Man No Way Home is absolutely killing it at the box office, but is anyone truly surprised by this? I sure as hell am not. I mean, it's Spider Man, for God's sake. It's Spider Man. Now, as many are saying, and as we've been dealing with, you know that when you start making all your films so political, that it tends to turn away a lot of the general audience because people see right through that crap and realize it. And yeah, that plays a factor into this, knowing that it's not really filled with a bunch of stuff. They're not trying to, just shove messages down your throat. It's just a good old time at your local theater. I mean, hell, I have not seen my theater that packed in a long, long time. Like, literally every spot is taken. I was driving past there just the other day and I realized it's like that is a beautiful sight to see. I think the recent numbers for like overseas are like 114 million, and it's like not bad for a webhead. That's for damn sure. And it's just that's what happens. That's just what happens when you just deliver a good old time at the theater for your audience. I mean, I saw the film myself, of course. I did my review, and I definitely enjoyed it. I don't know if I loved it like what most people are saying. I definitely appreciate. They definitely approved on many things that I have had issues with this iteration of Spider-Man being so heavily reliant on the MCU to tell a Spider-Man story when Spider-Man is one of those characters that works best in his own personal stories, his own personal battles, not having to rely on the bigger picture of the MCU and all this other madness that's happening. This definitely took steps in that direction. And of course, just the nostalgia of bringing back all these old villains and this and that. But there are definitely some good, earned, heartfelt moments towards the end of this film, even ones that I didn't see coming. I felt like, yeah, you've earned that. All right, so I applaud you for it. And it definitely sets up some nice things to come later on. But back to what I really want to focus on is that people will come out to see a Spider Man movie. There's just no argument about that. There's really only two superhero characters that you can reboot every few years and then actually have people continuously come and see those characters. One being Spider Man, the other being Batman. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, what have we had? How many iterations of these characters have we had in the last few years? I mean, if you go and look at what from the Burton Schumacher era of the late 80s and 90s, we had the Nolan era in the early 2000 or the late 2000s, early 2010s. We've had the Snyderverse, Batman, all of that. Now we have the new Robert Pattinson one coming out. I mean, Spider-Man again, early 2000s. We had the Andrew Garfield ones, early 2010s. And now this, the whole MCU grand scheme Spider-Man, hell, even the animated Spider-Verse film that we had then. I mean, these are the two only ones. They're so bankable that you throw their name out there, they are going to make bank no matter what. Now, the quality of the film, on the other hand, is obviously going to play a major factor into that. It'll help, but at the end of the day, even if you make the most mediocre of any of these films, they're still going to make some money just based off of name recognition alone. Now, this one being the third in a Spider-Man trilogy, as well as being heavily tied into the MCU, as well as the heavy speculation that you're going to bring back old Spider-Man, of course this movie is going to do gangbusters. Now, will it make $1 billion as the first, post-pandemic the film like that? It's like, well, likely so. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. I mean, so yeah, so for me, I'm like, and especially just, like I said, just being a decent film overall, I'm like, this movie is making bank, and rightfully so. Like I said, and I feel like this one is earned. I do feel like it's earned, as I was saying. I don't feel like it's as mediocre as the previous two. There have been elements of the previous two films that I liked. I really do think they made two of the better villains out of the MCU as a whole. But again, just felt like it was too heavily tied to the MCU and Tony Stark and all this other stuff. It just didn't have that heart that the Raimi films had, that more personal battle. And this one gives you a lot of that and does very well with it towards the end, like I said. And so I do feel like that this one is mostly earned in the way it sets up the future of this Spider-Man. There is a lot of potential. Could they screw it up again? I don't know. Possibly. Anything's possible. But there's also potential there for them to do some really good stuff. As long as they keep on this direction, then hell, we could have some really good stuff going on here. And just keeping Spider-Man as Spider-Man, not focusing on a bunch of stuff. I mean, hell, it's mostly Sony's babies now. So it could be more focused. But then again, hopefully they've learned enough from their mistakes to not step in and just like overstep their bounds and do a lot of crazy shit that's completely unnecessary. But there is potential there, and I'm very glad to see that. But it's making money, and that's a good thing. And then, like I said, Spider-Man, Batman, those are the only two that you can really know that every few years you can just reboot that and the people will come. But you make a better film, it means more money for you. So why not just try, right? At least that's how I see it. Most people don't see it that way. Most people just be like, oh, just do the cheap gimmicky thing right now. We'll make that money right now. But if you stop doing that, if you do it a little bit down the line and earn yourself that gimmick, guess what? Shit ton more money. Shit ton more money for you down the line. That's all you have to do. A little Star Wars, owners still have not figured that out yet. But hey, I'm not in charge, right? But I'll just end it right there. I've yapped on long enough. I am Iron Raiden, and I am out.